it's not relating. Whatever we are doing in this house, it's not relating to what is on the ground, Honorable Speaker. And for a while, Honorable Speaker, we have been, after this happens, we meet with the chief officer, the CEC, finance. We have also gone to an extent of meeting His Excellency, the governor, through the leadership. But there is no action, Mr. Speaker. What is missing is actually implementation of whatever we agree in our meetings. It's not the first time we are meeting the DG as this Honorable House, as not refuting meeting the DG, the CC Finance, but surely there is also end to anything, Mr. Speaker. We can meet and meet and meet, but when there is no actions, then those meetings become irrelevant, Mr. Speaker. At this point, my feeling is that it's still being irrelevant, Mr. Speaker. What we need, what this Honorable House needs, it's not meetings. It's implementations of whatever we pass. Why should we meet, Mr. Speaker? If I'm performing my duty well, why should I meet you? Maybe we meet over a cup of tea to celebrate achievements. But here is a situation whereby, Mr. Speaker, every time we are being called to meet either the CC Finance or we meet His Excellency the Governor. But yes, we meet. We have gone even to Mombasa. But I don't want to go to Mombasa when there is nothing going on at my ward. And even if there's something is going on in my ward, I want it to go on what is expected, not just something to show that there is something which is being done, and yet it's not at the right value of what is supposed to be done. I think, Mr. Speaker, at this point, I'm not against meeting the DG or the CC, Finance, but I think the right people we need to meet, Mr. Speaker, is the policy makers, like the chief officers and the county secretary, Mr. Speaker. Let's go down to the people we can control, not to the people we cannot control. From where we are, we can dictate these chief officers to implement whatever we expect to be done in our wards. We can authoritatively force our county secretary, Honorable House, to implement matters which are of our concern, Honorable Speaker. It is on a very humble request, I would request our minority leader, who is the eye of the government, not to bring to this Honorable House, CEC Finance. We would request you, Honorable Minority Leader, to bring the County Secretary and the Chief Officers of relevant departments, Honorable Minority Leader, because we want to deal with them, since that the CEC Finance, is also engaged. We know his ambitions. He might not be seeing what I'm seeing as an honorable member representing Kangundo Central Ward people. I want him to have the comfort of furthering his ambitions, but I engage the chief officer and the county secretary, who are not supposed to think of what is happening on the ground politically, but development-wise. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minority Leader, you have a point of information. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The information that the House, through our majority whip, is very valid to this report, and valid to what I'm going to say is that the DG has also the powers to even to compel the Cabinet Secretary. The DG has all the powers to compel the chief officers in his meeting, so that we may kill one
point of information.
Yeah, maybe majority,
on a point of information.
Yeah, maybe let me, because I think this is going to go round and round. Let me just give some guideline on this, because I think that's my work to give you guidance. I think the mood of the House, Minority Leader, as you can tell it, is that members are saying they are tired of meeting with DG and the governor on issues. That's what the submission which has been brought here. So I hear the request which is here is that they need to meet with the county secretary and the chief officers to come out with implementation plans, not to discuss anything to do with the supplementary or budgets or anything, but first of all to draw out implementation plans for their projects. That's how to meet with the governor. So if it is possible to pass on the message, I think that is what I'm hearing from the House, that we need, first of all, to meet with the executioners, the accounting officers who are in charge of these various departments. The DG will not know what is happening in the Ministry of Agriculture. The DG will not know what is happening in the Ministry of Water. But the chief officer will be able to sit down with the honorable member and say, I am going to implement this and this and this and this and this if I'm given this and this and this and this. That is the kind of discussion I think the House is looking for. Thank you. Honorable Majority Leader.
Yeah,
then
thank you.
From
Thank
there
you.
we go to Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you. In my position, Honourable Speaker, you know I can. Honourable Speaker, our minority, who is our father in this House, is trying to convince us, telling us that the Deputy Governor has got powers to summon. Honourable Speaker, 2 weeks ago, I was given and read by the same Deputy Governor, and it was taken back by a very junior fella. It was taken back, and I even complained to the DG, as the DG, how can a junior fella take a grader which you had already given to me? Therefore, as I say, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Minority Leader, we respect you. But this House is not ready. Our side is not ready to meet first with the DG. First, let us meet with the people who are entitled to ensure implementation of the budget which we normally give. Those are the people who are responsible. So our feeling, and this is the mood of this House, if they are not going to meet, the CEOs are not going to meet with this House, somewhere whereby we can ask them, our supplementary budget which we did last year was this much. How far have you gone to Kamito's, Honorable Kamito's ward? How far have you gone to Honorable Mark Mwendo's house? There is no other meeting we are going to have with the DG, even His Excellency, so to say. The reason is, let us be serious. Let us meet those CEOs before we meet the DG. Pass the information very clear. And as our party, we are not ready. We have been meeting with DG in Mombasa, all over, in his office, in Kiwanjane there, and nothing. There's nothing coming out of DG. Let us talk, let us be told our money, how it has been spent by the CEOs. Honourable Speaker, that is the stand of Wiper Party in this House. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Masesi, before we come back to you. Honorable Masesi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Cosmas Masesi, Matungoli Ward MCA. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to appreciate and applaud the Budget Committee for bringing this big light to this House. And Mr. Speaker, it is not rocket science. All is not well. Mr. Speaker, I think our handshake wasn't everything. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the county government, we've been taking money to the CRF. 2017, 2018, we took 1.94 billion. 2018, 2019, again, there was a balance of 1.8 billion. Mr. Speaker, this is unutilized funds to the CRF. And when you look, Mr. Speaker, at the ground, I was just doing some quick calculations of the years down devolution, and they are 8 years, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, assuming we have been getting a total budget of 10 billion per year. As per the law, 30%, Mr. Speaker, each year is 3 billion development. Multiplied by 8 years, Mr. Speaker, we have a total of 24 billion. Do we have anything in terms of development at the ground, Mr. Speaker, worth 24 billion? That's a big question, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, again, today we are 3 months down the line, that is 2020-2021. We passed a budget, Mr. Speaker, and as per the recommendations by the Budget Committee, that by the start of 1st September, we should be doing procurement. Mr. Speaker, up to now, besides passing an itemized budget, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure as honorable members, we don't know how much we're going to spend as per the word. Nothing, Mr. Speaker, has been done. And you will find us here, the same place, Mr. Speaker, 30th June next year, saying that we should rush and pass a supplementary budget to make sure that we do some development. And we have all this period, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to believe as an house we need to raise, and I'm sure God will not forgive us, Mr. Speaker. We are looking and we are assuming everything is well, and Mr. Speaker, we are not doing any development. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the departments which have overspent money, bad enough, health department is missing. And Mr. Speaker, you can imagine at level 5, we don't have a machine which can do a CT scan, simple CT scan. ECG machine, Mr. Speaker, we don't have as account government. Mr. Speaker, our patients, our people are being referred to private hospitals on a daily basis. They are parting away with 10 to 20,000 shillings. And you can see, Mr. Speaker, and I want to believe all members can support this. We are on a very difficult time. We have no money. The pandemic is within us. And Mr. Speaker, as a county, we can't afford a machine to do a CT scan. That is too bad for us, Mr. Speaker, and we are seated here, and our people are suffering. I've been raising this issue, Mr. Speaker, on a daily basis with the Department of Health, that's the CC, and Mr. Speaker, so far, we've got no positive results. Mr. Speaker, something has to be done. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, as elected members, we are on our 4th year, and the politics are just around the corner. Next year, Mr. Speaker, I am not sure if we'll get time to be here, because you'll be told your opponent is just within your area, he's meeting some women, some men there. And Mr. Speaker, we need to have something to show at the end of this term. That is the only secret for us coming back to this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. I have Kingori, then I come to you. Honorable Kingori.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is just to congratulate the committee for doing a simple job of knowing what is going on in our county, and also to know that the handshake is not working, and also to know that we have a corrupt government in Machakos, hidden. The way the report is saying is that people are not honest. People are not working. People are paid by the community, but they are not working for the community, because if money cannot be utilized, it means somebody is sleeping on his job. That means development is a dream to the people of Machakos, which is true. And if I'm wrong, I want to know any project which was done last year, apart from being told that we are paying pending bills, yet they did not come to this house to request for that money to pay those pending bills. Because we have passed a budget, itemized budget twice, but we don't have any results. The only thing we have is the 10 million projects which we proposed, which you can just say this is what is on the ground, this is not what on the ground. But where is the big money? Where is those billions? Because if we talk about 12, if I take for this year, 11 point something billion. I want to know, after removing around 50%, let's say 50%, because they can't afford the 2/3
of his own and the chief officers to allocate money to our needs, we must find another way of forcing this government to do projects to our people. If those projects will not be done, you will find many of us not coming to this assembly. Mr. Speaker, we have paid a lot of pending bills, millions of shillings for pending bills, for work which was done in the first assembly. But when you go to Matugulu West, you will not find a project which was paid, which was done that time. Where are those where are those contracts which were done, and in which wards were they paid for? Let us not be taken for granted, Mr. Speaker. The governor will be asking to be the president. Even if he comes to your ward, he will not talk about you. He will talk about himself. It is time for us to ask him to do something for us so that we can show the people as we prepare to ask for their votes again. Mr. Speaker, look at the granders. In Matungulu West, we have one grander which has been out of order almost the year. It has been in Cheleni ward for almost 2 months now. It is not moving. It has mechanical problems. From Cheleni, it is intended to go to Matungulu East, Matungulu North, and Matungulu and Etala ward before it comes to Matungulu West ward. When will it ever come to Matungulu West? And the rains are coming. When we ask for them to buy new graders, we get no answer for that. Honorable members, let us say, I am Maendeleo Chapchap, I am Jubilee, I am Awaipa. We need development on the ground for our people to appreciate for the millions of shillings, billions of shillings, which have been given to our county by the government. Mr. Speaker, we need something, not this sweet talking. When I hear Honorable Kamitu saying that you talk to the government better than in Matungulu West, those people are suffering as I am suffering. Let him stand firm as a member of county assembly and not stop defending the government, Mr. Speaker. The government should be supported when it is doing good to our people. And when it is not doing good to our people, we must say the government is not for the people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Can I now request Honorable Benedette Mweni first? I finish with the outside, then I come to Honorable Titus Kaloki. Honorable Benedette Mweni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Benedetta Mweni Musyoka, nominated by Wiper. I'm very happy you have been at home and see happening to the ground. Now, nothing you can do. Calling the deputy governor here, you are doing a lot of nothing. Because you are coming to stamp the papers for the people to eat the money. So, what is good is not to meet the governor, because the deputy governor to the junior people, they are very powerful than him. The person you can call is the governor if he wants the supplementary to be passed, so that we can sit with him and then don't be saying that nominated MCA. When I go home, I'm called a Mheshimiwa, and I'm asked what work we are doing, and I have nothing. So, I need to ask the House to call the governor. Mheshimiwa, our majority Siva, have talking very, very good. We are not going to pass that supplementary. And we don't hate Mheshimiwa Governor. It's only that his people are not working. I have been seeking about my road, and every day I call those chief officers, and my road is only 1 kilometer from my house. And when it will rain, my car will not be coming from the house. So what I can beg all the MCAs of Machakos is only to try and then do something, because you have not worked more than the majority who was there, and the other Mheshimiwa was in Mwala. They yet worked and they did not come. So I'm not saying that I will come, but nobody will come this house back. If you are going to be like that, it will be a history of nobody coming to this.
But I have some concerns and also some reservations as an elected member of this house. I've heard what the other members have said, and I want to start by saying that I want to agree with the majority of the members that it's important that we have a meeting with the chief officers who are the implementers of our budget. Why am I supporting this? His Excellency the Governor gave directions for work to be done in Machakos County government. The Deputy Governor was there. He met the budget committee and he gave directions. I want to agree with all of you that it's important that now we have a meeting with the chief officers, one-on-one. I have happened to have had an opportunity to sit in one of the meetings in Makueni County government, where the governor holds regular meetings with the chief officers and the contractors and the suppliers of Makueni County government. A contractor would stand and say, I have worked in this ward and I have not been paid so much money for this period. The chief officer is always there to defend and say the reason why, say for example, the contractor has now been paid, the reason why a certain project has never been implemented. I want to say this before this honorable house as a deputy whip of the government. It's not about parties. It's not about Jubilee. It's not about Wiper. It's about the people of Machakos County being served with developments. What I want to say, Mr. Speaker, is that, and I don't want to defend, I'm not defending the government as such. I want to be very honest. I've heard what the other members have said. There's work being done, some work has been done, but the main problem here is two, which I want to say. Imbalanced development projects. The way they share the development projects, they're not being balanced. I hope everyone is hearing me. Mr. Speaker, I want to give a very good example. Am I being heard? The last KRB, Kenya Roads Board projects, Kangundo Sub-County and Machakos Sub-County. The two sub-counties combined, they never attained a maximum of 10 million combined for no, Matungulu, I know what was done. Maybe I'm talking about Machakos Town and Kangundo Sub-County. Personally, I had a KRB of 1.6 million. 1.6 million. Meta had less than $1 million KRB project. I know what happened in Machakos Town. Now, if you look at, for example, some wards, and I want to be honest, like Matungulu West. I want to give an example. The previous KRB, not the most recent one, there was a road of 16 million. The other day, there was another one of 7 million. If you look at the road that was done from Matuma Mwit all the way to Cheleni, almost 23 million. Is there balance there? If I may ask, no. I want to say something else. And I want our governor whenever we'll have a sitting with him to hear this. Some of the executive officers have turned themselves into MCS. What am I saying? They are allocating projects in the areas where they come from, not even forgetting even to consult the area MCS. If you remember, Mr. Speaker, I was with you in the budget committee. We had a 363 million shillings set aside for mega projects, mega dams. Where did this man go to? In Kangundo sub-county, there is no single mega dam.
Point of
In
order.
Kangundo sub-county, there is no single
order.
stadium.
Honorable Moffat Maida, you have a point of order?
Honorable Speaker, is it in order for the honorable member to talk of Matungulu West Ward when he was the contractor of that road? And is it in order also because the other road, the bridge I gave him to do, he never finished it? He should not be talking about what he's saying, Honorable Speaker.
Let me say something here. Honorable Moffat Maida, I think it's important especially when we make strong statements in this house, you need to be able to substantiate them. You cannot accuse an honorable member of being a contractor and doing contracting business unless you can be able to substantiate it. So I will be requesting Honorable Moffat Maida, if you have got the proof, then you may need to lay it before the assembly so that that statement can be admissible. Otherwise, I will be requesting you to withdraw the statement unless you can be able to substantiate before the House that the honorable member is actually a contractor. Honorable Moffat Maida, do you have evidence you can table before the assembly, or are you going to withdraw the statement? Honorable Moffat?
Honorable Speaker, I wish I was there. Can he deny that his company did not do that road he's talking about? Can he deny there?
Honorable Titus Kaloki, can you please respond so that we can close that issue?
Mr. Speaker, I want to say like Professor Lumumba that sometimes you don't respond to a mosquito bite with a hammer. For once, he has admitted that a road worth 16 million was done in his ward. The other day, a road worth 7 million was done in his ward. But I don't go into that direction. What I want to say is that if there was a road done by a contractor, probably who is known to me, or someone who is related to me, that's not Honorable Kaloki doing the contract. He can go to the registrar of companies, he can go to the relevant authorities and confirm whether I am doing any contract in his ward as
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ekusia Kaloki.
Point of order.
Let me finish.
From Honorable Moses Mita. Just a minute.
Yeah,
Point
yeah,
of order.
please, Honorable Speaker, I think I'm not refuting your direction, but I think we need to be honorable in the way we do our business in this house. Honorable Speaker, it's either, my feeling, it's either Honorable Moffat tables proof or he withdraws. Referring the issue back to Honorable Ekusia, to me, that is not the best direction, Honorable Speaker, and I respect your directions, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think the only reason why I allowed Honorable Ekusia to comment on it is because when you are directly mentioned in something, then unless, for example, he has clarified himself, he has said that is not related to it. Therefore, I have to go back now to the honorable member and request him to show proof or to withdraw. Because the honorable member has said he is not related to that company. So Honorable Moffat Maida, with that in mind, I would like to request you,
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Moffat Maida, if you cannot
Honorable
table before the House now, proof, I would like you to withdraw that statement.
Honorable Speaker, he did not deny, and therefore I'm not
Honorable
withdrawing.
Moffat Maida.
I'm not withdrawing.
Okay. Then, Honorable Maida, I would request you to kindly leave the chamber. I will be discussing this issue further with you based on the standing orders of this House, because if you cannot table proof before the Assembly, then you cannot be able to continue with accusing a fellow member of a grievous issue like the one you are saying, whereby you are saying the honorable member is actually trading with the government he is working for. So, Honorable Ikusia, can you conclude, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for defending me. I want to say this categorically that I am a businessman. I do business with other counties. I know the law says very clearly. I remember one of my fellow MCs here admitted that he does contracts in Machakos. I do other contracts in many other places. But I have no single contract that I'm undertaking in Machakos County. The reason why the member of Matungulu West is so bitter with me, Mr. Speaker, is that I've mentioned some things that he was trying to hide under the table, that there are projects being carried out in those respective wards. What I talked about, Mr. Speaker, which is good for purposes of record, is that I said earlier that we have imbalanced projects. And as I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the stadiums, for example, there's no single stadium in my ward. There's no single stadium in your ward. There's no single mega dam in your ward. For example, like in Kangundo sub-county, we have no space for mega dams. And they consumed hundreds of millions. What I want to say, Mr. Speaker, is that we need a sit-in with the CEOs, one, to agree with them on how we are going to balance projects across the entire county. Number two, we want to know what is being done where. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, KRB projects have already been sent, I think, to KRB board for approval. We also want to know again, how are we going to benefit from these projects? Last time when we had a meeting with the governor, His Excellency, I want you to remember very well what he said. We do not want a repeat of what happened in the last KRB projects, what we used to refer to as cross-cutting. I may not have a road that cuts from my ward to Honorable Mita's ward or to the neighboring ward of Honorable Kamito. We must be consulted first. But some of the chief officers have taken it upon themselves to decide for honorable MCAs on what should be done where. That is the reason why we would want to have a meeting. Accusing one another, so-and-so is a contractor, is a supplier, that will never take us anywhere. Those kind of bitterness. But we need to be truthful. We need to bring the culprits, the people who are implementing our projects before this House. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. I do not want to say or defend anyone over corrupt allegations. But I want to say that we are here to be served as honorable members, equally. This, we only have this year and probably half of next year to work for our people. I have no single tarmac road in my ward, even the neighboring wards. We have seen other wards benefiting from tarmac roads. We have not accused them, we have not complained, but as I summarize, I still insist that, and I support, we must have a meeting with the CEOs and we must have balanced projects. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Can I request the move of the motion to respond, please? Honorable Angela Munyasia, because of time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to thank all the members for the participation and the support for this motion. And I would like to urge members to continue pressing for their right to have projects implemented in their wards, because it is the right of the people that we have been put here. We have been placed to do that duty to ensure that our wards are equipped, they are worked for, and it is not a favor that is being done. It is the right of our people to receive those services. And our jurisdiction is to ensure that those services get to the grassroots and that the people benefit, politics or no politics. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to leave.
Thank you, Honorable Angela Munasia. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House discusses and approves the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the report of the Controller of Budget for the first 3 quarters of the financial year 2019-2020. As many as other opinions say ayes. Ayes. On the outside chamber, as many as other opinions say ayes. Ayes. As many as of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I would like to draw your attention to our House Standing Orders, number 87, responsibility for a statement of fact. Standing Order number 87, Suborder 2, if a member has sufficient reason to convince the Speaker that the member is unable to substantiate the allegation instantly, the Speaker shall require that such member substantiates the allegations not later than the next sitting day, failure to which the member shall be deemed to be disorderly within the meaning of the Standing Order 108, which talks about grave disorderliness, and unless the member withdraws the allegations and gives a suitable apology if the Speaker so requires. Based on that standing order, I will be requiring Honorable Moffat Maida to substantiate on the allegations he has made before this House by the next sitting day, which will be next week on Tuesday, when the House shall assemble again, failure to which my expectation will be that he'll give a suitable apology before the House. Thank you, honorable members. As I conclude this morning's sitting, I would like to comment on a few things which have been mentioned here. The first one is by the request by the Labour Committee, which, as the Honorable Chair has said, is requesting for an audit to be done by an independent body on our workforce. It is something which I believe that committee needs to follow through and ensure that they get necessary budgetary support to ensure that we can be able, the House can be able, or the county can be able to engage a private firm, audit firm, to be able to audit the wage bill and come out with a comprehensive report to the House on which way forward in as far as the ballooning wage bill is concerned. So I'll be directing that committee to seek for that. The other issue which has been mentioned is the issue of the CT scan machine and the ECG, which I found touching by the honorable member for Matungulu and the chairman for health, and direct that the budget committee needs to work jointly with the health committee to ensure that provisions are made for that equipment, if it is not there, to be purchased and installed in the county hospital, work through that so that we can be able to get the necessary budgetary controls. It is not possible for us to be referring every CT scan to private, or even something as simple as an ECG, which looks at the rhythm of the heart. And this is pointing towards possible cartels, which could be there, making money, obviously, maybe through none. Because to the best of my knowledge, we have a CT scan machine. Maybe it is that it is not working. Maybe it is that it does not have the necessary materials it needs for it to function. So that needs to be followed up. I think it's an issue which is urgent. Finally, is the issue of the pending bills.